Now, internationally, or at least on the continent, the United Nations is fearful of a full-scale humanitarian situation unfolding in Ethiopia, and that's why African leaders have kickstarted talks in Ethiopia's escalating internal conflict. 2 days after rocket strikes on Eritrea's capital highlighted the risk that the fighting could spread. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni held talks with Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister, while former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo headed to Addis Ababa to make his bid for dialogue. Ethiopia's government has rejected calls for mediation, saying this would incentivize impunity, but the humanitarian crisis is worsening.
Ethiopian troops have advanced further into the northern region of Tigray, seizing a key town on the road to its capital. The conflict between national forces and troops loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, is heading towards the end of its second week. Crisis Committee spokesperson discussed the group's efforts to kickstart some mediation in Ethiopia's escalating internal conflict 2 days after rocket strike on Eritrea's capital highlighted risks that fighting could spread. At a press conference, the Crisis Committee spokesman indicated the government held TPLF responsible for the humanitarian fallout and accused it of deliberately spurring a refugee crisis.
We don't need any mediation until we bring the leaders to court. They don't care about the people they think they represent, because, make it clear, is they are trying to scare the Tigrayan people so that they can flee away from home.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has added his voice to the international calls for a peaceful resolution to the fighting in the north of Ethiopia. He released a statement after meeting Ethiopia's foreign minister in Nairobi. The president's call comes after a similar comment from Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni after meeting the leader. Ethiopian Prime Minister has said the TPLF needs to be disarmed before negotiations can begin, as well leaders have called for an immediate end to hostilities. On the other hand, TPLF has accused the government of conducting airstrikes in the state's capital, Mekelle. The Ethiopian Prime Minister has promised to enable humanitarian support by the military, but it's not clear how that can be achieved amid an escalating conflict. Hundreds of people are reported to have been killed so far in the conflict, some in a gruesome massacre documented last week by Amnesty International. The United Nations estimates that around 20,000 people have crossed from Tigray into neighboring Sudan over the last 10 days.
We are starting to provide assistance services with UNHCR, WFP, the Sudanese Red Cross, Muslim Aid, and other service providers.
Ethiopia's Prime Minister launched military operations in Tigray 12 days ago after he accused local authorities of attacking an army camp and attempting to loot military assets. The TPLF, which is in power in the region, denies the charge and has accused the Prime Minister of concocting the story to justify the offensive.